Well, good morning and welcome to day 25 of my 30-day backpack adventure. These are such pretty little lakes. This morning I am up and out pretty early. Left camp at 6:49. My second best time ever. The only other time I got out earlier was at 6:44, the day I had to do Mirror Pass. Today's plan is I have a couple challenges. I have to climb 600 feet more here to get over the top of Selden Pass. So that's not so bad. And the other challenge is the Bear Creek crossing. It's a ford, which can be really challenging when the water is high. Fortunately, I don't think the weather was that bad yesterday, so I'm hoping the water level will be low so that the crossing isn't too scary. I'm going 10.5 miles to the, the Bear Ridge Trail Junction. And I've decided that since there's no way I can really go 15 miles in one day to meet the BVR boat, or even 10.5 miles in one day, and the rest in the morning before the boat leaves, that's just not realistic. Wait, hold on, you gotta see this. Look at this view of upper Sallie Keyes Lake and the trail ahead. I've decided that I'll hike the additional bonus 7-mile Bear Ridge Trail to get into Vermillion Valley Resort. So 10.5 miles today to the junction, and then I'm hoping to actually do a couple more miles today to make it a big 12-mile day, so that in the morning I only have to do 5 miles to get the actual resort. And so I'll get there early enough to have like a whole day of relaxation. And then I thought I'd splurge on a hostel bed, which is like 30 bucks I think, to have a real bed. So I thought that'd be nice. And then I figure I can spend most of the next day there, take the 4 o'clock boat out, and then continue on my way. So it's like practically a zero. I mean, it's essentially a zero. Well, maybe it's 2 narrows, but 2 narrows equal a zero, right? Oh, and I heard coyotes. I heard them in the middle of the night last night, and I heard them this morning. They're so cool. Only 5 more days. It's gone by so fast. It's another view. Can't get enough of these views. Pretty meadow and trail. I think this is going to be a pretty pass. Oh, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look at this little lake. This is Heart Lake. It's so cute. And big mountain on that side. And big mountain on that side. Wow, the Japanese trekking group is up really early this morning. They are a super hardy bunch, I gotta say. Let's see if I can stay ahead of them. I don't know, they're tough. This is the garden path. Their husband, he loves little ponies so much. At this gorgeous lake. Last night, a cougar bait came through, and he stopped to chat for a bit, which was really cool. So right after Muir Trail Ranch, when you get up to the top of that little hill, there's a right-hand turn, a trail that's not really marked, but looks like it could be the right-hand turn that you're supposed to take. And you take it and you go down a bit, and then there's this really massive wooden gate made out of logs. So I went down this path thinking it was the right path, and then after I went through the gate and saw like the private property sign, I was like, I don't know, this doesn't seem right. And then another hiker came along and we were both questioning it, and I looked on gut hooks and I was off the grid, so I figured it was the wrong trail. Well, anyway, Cougar Bay was telling me that he also took that same trail, and he took it about 1.5 miles down before he realized it was leading to Florence Lake. So he had to go another 1.5 miles back, so 3 bonus miles for him. So anyway, he got a late start from Muir Trail Ranch, and he's hiking with these 2 other girls. One of them I talked to at the stream. I didn't know it at the time. Cougar Bait told me. Her name is Adelisa, and she's Puerto Rican, which is awesome. I hope I run into her again because I'd love to chat with her about Puerto Rico because we just moved from there. And then the other woman he's traveling with, her name is Yolo. Yeah, he asked me about my 2 original friends that I was hiking with, and I said, oh, they hiked ahead, they're really athletic, and they have a schedule to keep. And I think he felt bad for me. I mean, it's totally cool that they hiked ahead because they really do have their own schedule to keep. It's no problem, but he was sympathetic. He's like, oh, well, we'll see you there, we'll hang out. So that was really nice. Thank you, Ethan, for being so cool. They're gonna make it today because they're high mileage people. They're gonna make the boat today, but like I said, I'm gonna take 2 days, but I'll see them tomorrow because I'll be zeroing. So maybe we'll have a cheeseburger and a beer together. But yeah, it's really neat. The cast of characters I've met on the trail has been really fascinating. I think, you know, it's for the scenery, but the people you meet along the way are also really, really colorful. It just makes it all so interesting. It's its own world. Check out this view. I'm sorry, I keep showing you this lake. Like every angle is cool. So yeah, probably overdoing it on the lake, but oh well. And there's little ground squirrels everywhere. I used to chase them when I was a kid. I forgot if I told you that or not. In Vogelsang, when my parents would take me backpacking in Yosemite back in the 70s, when there was people everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere you looked, there were people. Oh, there's a cute one. I'm not going to try to film it because it'll just run away. So I'm headed down there into that canyon. So I just saw some hikers coming from the opposite direction, so I asked them about the Bear Creek crossing, which is coming up soon, and it doesn't sound too bad. He says it's shin to knee deep, and you know, he was like, you want to take your shoes off? And I said, well, I'll just walk through in these. And he's like, oh, you're good to go, because I guess if you go barefoot, it's pretty painful because it's basically cobblestones. So it sounds a lot like the Evolution Creek crossing, where there was no rock hopping. It's just plowing through the water. Hopefully it won't be as bad or challenging as Evolution. It'd be nice if it were easier, but we shall see. I'm gonna have to double bag and repack everything, especially the camera and the batteries and all that. So we'll have to take a break before I go over that one. I think this is Rose Meadow. I'll have to double check the map as always. Rose Lake. Oh, I don't have to cross this right now. That goes to Rose Lake. Yay! On we go. I have this little game I play. It's called Pick Up the Stick Without Bending Over. Getting pretty good at it now. So the tough thing about this pack is that it's hard to take the weight off my shoulders by using the hip belt, because this hip belt is just really super skinny and it pinches my stomach. So I really can't take a lot of weight off my shoulders, which when you're backpacking, it's nice to be able to shift things around. Sometimes your waist is carrying more of the weight, sometimes your shoulders are. But for me, it's pretty much always my shoulders. My poor little fleece is working hard, and you know, I'm getting by. It's an old pack. I gotta hand it to Alpine Lowe. I mean, you know, 20 years later and it's still in one piece, but finally I saw like a little tiny rip in the fabric. I think it's like maybe a centimeter. So I can justify a new pack. I can't wait. And it's gonna have better shoulder straps, curved ones with some padding. Not too much, I don't want it to be a heavy pack. And a much better hip belt, also with padding, but not too much. Ideally, I'd like to get a pack under 3 pounds. This one's 1.9 without the bladder system, so it's light. But the problem with light, I think, is that sometimes it's just not that comfortable. Yeah, I need lots of pockets. I need pockets on the outside. Pockets on the outside and the back, like mesh pockets. I love the mesh pocket. You can see what's there, you can grab it easily. I lose things because I'm hanging things all the time from this pack. So I'd love to have it all in a mesh pocket. And pockets in the front too. Like for my camera, my phone, maps, chapstick, that sort of thing. Not that I'm using chapstick, bug spray, that's what I'm really using. There's bugs on me now. Another little creek crossing. But first, a stop for water. So I just had my second breakfast. Granola and milk, my old standby. Made me think about food. Yesterday when I was at MTR and I walked up and there was this whole crowd of people waiting for them to open. And a bunch of them were the PCTers. I was kind of dying to know how Vortex and Snake had done in that crazy storm, because they were behind me up on Muir Pass, and Vortex was telling me that the storm really got going while they were on top of the pass. And so they basically huddled up with some other people in the Muir hut, actually, to wait it out. And they ended up camping at Evolution Lake, and they ran out of food. There was a guy there who was fishing, who caught a bunch of fish, so he was kind enough to share the fish with these guys, you know, these two guys, Snake and Vortex. They had fish for breakfast the next day, and then they did a 13-mile day. And these are little fish. These are, you know, these are big guys and these are little fish. And then they stayed overnight by the river where I was thinking of staying then the next morning. So they were super hungry. And so when they mentioned that they hadn't had any food, I said, oh, well, you want some nuts? I've got some extra nuts. You know, because I still had some trail mix left, and they were like, oh my God, yeah. So I gave them my nuts and M&Ms. And then, oh, Team Zero was there too. And I didn't think I'd see them again. They had run out of food. And the girl was like, how is it that you have extra food? And I'm like, well, you know, I usually just pack a little extra. Oh, here's some dried fruit. And I gave it to her and she was like, oh my God, thanks. I think it's hard when you're a PCTer, you know, you've walked hundreds and hundreds of miles. I think it gets hard to predict what food you're gonna need. I think they do their best, but sometimes this hiker hunger thing kicks in. They can't sometimes predict how that's going to affect them, and sometimes they run out of food. So it's, you know, it's a tricky situation when your needs are always changing. But I was glad I had extra that I could share. Okay, so this looks like it, the Bear Creek crossing. Doesn't look too bad. Looks a lot easier than Evolution Creek / river. Yeah, this is way easier than Evolution Creek. Well, if that was the dreaded Bear Creek water crossing, that wasn't a big deal at all. I mean, you know, lucky for me, it's a low snow year. I'm sure earlier in the season, it's a big deal. And in higher snow years, it's a big deal. I'm happy that it's not a big deal. I love not big deal water crossings. So yeah, those two, Evolution Creek and Bear Creek, are the notorious ones. So if that's it for the hard stuff, then those two were a lot easier than Rush Creek and Return Creek, the two so-called creeks in Yosemite, were way scarier. I have a theory about why they call Evolution Creek a creek. It's kind of a conspiracy theory, but I'm thinking that if they called it a river, they'd have to build a bridge over it. And the Park Service probably doesn't want to spend the money on that, or doesn't have the money to spend on it, so they just keep calling it a creek. You know, that's my theory anyway. I don't know, what do you think? Wow, what the heck is that bug? What is that? Oh my gosh, that is crazy weird. Another one.
Maybe?
And part 2. Got my feet wet. It's okay. Bear Creek is looking kind of raging riverish. Break next to that river spot I showed you. I laid out the Z-rest, stretched out my legs, took my shoes off and got the sand out of them, and had some trail mix, and just generally kind of snoozed a little bit to the sound of the water. It was awesome. So I have about 3.7 miles before I hit my Bear Ridge trail junction, which is good. I was closer than I thought, but the last 1.5 of them are uphill. I have to gain like, I think 600 feet, which I don't think that's too bad, unless it's really, really hot. Oh my gosh, what is this ant doing? Hold on. Look at this ant. He's carrying some huge dead bug. So before I got distracted by the bugs, I was saying that the last 1.5 miles will be up and hopefully it won't be too hot. So once I get to that junction, I've made my minimum 10.6 miles for the day, but I really need to put on a couple extra down that trail so that I can get up early tomorrow morning and roll into VVR in time for lunch. Because I am looking forward to, I think, a hamburger and a beer. 2 beers. So, and a shower and laundry, and I'm gonna splurge on a hostel bed. Ah, I'm so excited! And then I can be clean for like a day before I get back out on the trail again. So excited. Look at this cool little waterfall washing all over that rock. It'd be a fun idea in a garden. I just love these little upside down lilies. Don't know what they're called, but they're so beautiful. This is a new one. I haven't seen these before. Beautiful. So I just watered up at the last reliable stream. I have to have enough water to get up the hill and camp tonight too, because there's no water source, reliable water source on the ridge where I'll be camping. So I may have to ration a little bit, but I've got a liter here and another liter in the back there. I think I'll be all right. In the morning I probably won't need much water because it'll be mostly downhill. Look at this cute little bridge. Looks old. So I came from up in over there, down that whole valley, and the river continues down this one, and I am on this hot rocky climb out, up to Bear Ridge. This reminds me of Yosemite right here. What are you doing, little caterpillar? Getting closer to the top. It's hazy over there. Must be a fire going on. Maybe it's that Ferguson fire. I love these wild roses. They're so cute. That's where I came from today. Down through all that. Some of these aspens are. That is really, really old for an aspen. Well, I finally made it to the junction. I don't know what it is about hills, but they just take the wind right out of me. And there's a bunch of people hanging out here. Don't know what they're up to, but I am going to rest here for a bit, for a while, give my feet a break, and then try to get further down the ridge. My little foot resting spot. I love my seat. This is cool. That spring literally begins right there. Just out of the earth. There it is. From nowhere, and there it goes. Sorry the lighting is so bad. My face is probably dirty anyway. You don't want to see it.